All right, welcome into another episode of Off the Leash. I'm Ashley Holder, Mark Schwab. OBR's Fred Greetham is in the building. Guys, it's another Browns loss. They take the loss to the Minnesota Vikings over the pond, 21-17. This one came down to a heck of a drive by the Vikings. Carson Wentz led them down a 10-play, 80-yard drive in the fourth quarter to get a touchdown that ultimately sealed the deal. Only left the Browns with 25 seconds left to make something happen. Let's talk Dillon Gabriel first and foremost. That was the story pretty much of the game, considering that he took over for quarterback. Once they decided to bench Joe Flacco, he was 19 of 33 today, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 38.4 quarterback rating. I mean, not too shabby for his first NFL start.
Yeah, I thought, he showed up himself pretty well. I think it was kind of conservative game plan. They didn't throw the ball down the field, and I think that was just maybe a lack of trust or putting him in his first game. But, it was a rookie day. It started out it was Quinshon Judkins, rookie, Dillon Gabriel, rookie, Harold Fannin, rookie, showing up everywhere. And in the end, it was the same story as far as points. 17 points. That's 10th straight game they haven't scored more than 17 points. And, and I blame the coaching a little bit. They had a chance to put the game away with 3:27 to go. They got the ball back after the defense stopped them. And they kind of went in the shell and punted it back, and the defense let the Vikings go 80 yards to win the game. But Gabriel, I thought, did everything. He didn't turn the ball over, and that's one of the big reasons Flacco was on the bench.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. First touchdown pass is thrown by a Cleveland Browns quarterback since week 2 against Baltimore, and that touchdown pass was a total fluke. It was Joe Flacco essentially throwing an interception that clanged off a defender's hands right to Tillman for a touchdown. So not 1, but 2 touchdowns in one game to no interceptions. That's absolutely an upgrade over what they were getting before. He did not lose it for him. The number is kind of pedestrian when you're at 19 of 33, but again, not bad. Rating of 94.3. They ran the football. They did play action. They did everything that you would think you have to do to win with a rookie quarterback who is not a dynamic thrower of the football. Gabriel played well. They didn't play well at the end. It's the second time this year we're saying, I have no idea how they lost this game, and they lost the game.
I remember when we were in the office, we were watching the game, and it was like that last couple of minutes, and I'm thinking, sure, the Browns are going to finish this one out.
No.
They've got a good lead.
No.
All right, looks like the Vikings are breaking down a little bit. And I just look over, and I see Mark just rubbing his head a little bit. I'm like, well, Mark, come on, surely they're going to win. And, he's like, you got to finish the game. And I was just shocked to see that, the defense essentially broke down on that final play.
It was, they mostly, well, not mostly. There was some dink and dunk. They also hit a big one to Jefferson on that drive. But they got him started with a couple of short ones to Hawkinson, and he, picked up some yards. It's like, what? It's not exactly some dynamic play they drew up. It wasn't like the razzle-dazzle they went to with Cam Akers with the bomb to Oliver, which is still an annoying play, but it's like, all right, sometimes the bag of tricks worked. The Browns controlled the game up until that point. And then it's like, let's just not be aggressive and forget what we're doing, and we're just going to let you get on the field because that's what we do. Because there could very easily be 3-2, but since they're the Cleveland Browns, they're 1-4. It's just an extremely ridiculous game to lose.
Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, it's like we used to always complain about Marty Schottenheimer's, prevent defense, and it would let teams go down the field. It was like the prevent offense. It's like we don't want anything bad to happen. The Vikings knew they were going to give the ball to Judkins there on that final drive with 3 minutes to go, and they were just trying to use them up their timeouts. If you were going to pass the ball in that series, I would have started on the first play, because even a safe little rollout,
yes.
If you get a first down, you win the game. That's all you needed was 10 yards. If you look at in the fourth quarter, the Browns had like 4 possessions, and I think the longest they went was 18 yards and got 1 first down. And it was just totally went into a shell at that time. And you just be aggressive, and if the first down play doesn't succeed, then you just run the next two and make them burn the timeouts and do what you do. But you throw on third down, on third and long, which is a low percentage anyway.
What's the most predictable conservative offense you get? Run, pass, right? I mean, how long we joked about that with bad quarterbacks? It's run, pass, run, pass. I understand it's Dylan Gabriel. I understand you want to protect him. I understand you have run the ball well. But I'm with you on first down. Little play action, roll out. It worked for him all day. Throw that wrinkle at him.
Little drag to the tight end for 5-6 yards.
That's what Dylan Gabriel.
Be a little aggressive there.
That's what Dylan Gabriel was talking about after the game. He just said that we have to convert. And he basically says it's on him and it starts with him, which we know that's a pretty basic quarterback line, but
he had a couple of throws today where you're like, where was that going? And he has those. Sometimes he has these passes which are like terribly overthrown. And you're like, what is that? But for the most part, he was fine. I don't blame him for that. I don't think anyone reasonably would. I hate complaining about play calling because inevitably players execute the plays. But I didn't like the selection. The run, pass. I just don't like it. Everyone knows it's coming. Or do run, pass, run. Don't do run, pass. Everyone knows it. Stop it. Show some aggression in the moment. That's how you put football teams away. It's rarely can you just say, we're just going to quit playing offense. We're just going to play defense the rest of the way. Defense had been great. I don't care. The Browns aren't good enough to me to just say, we're just going to run, pass, punt it back to you, and go win it with our defense again. They're not good enough. Be a little aggressive.
At this point, they're just like, look, we're just trying to get up there.
Well, you start out and you eliminate the turnovers, which was great.
Yeah,
but
they created them too.
But you come back and have 10 penalties for 78 yards. That was the difference also in the game. You took away a 56-yard touchdown by Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah.
Well, how would have that looked in the final score?
Yeah.
Because after that penalty, you did not score. And you had another one, even on the first series, you had a holding that took away a 9-yard run. You had a false start or something on Conklin that took away a 10-yard run by Judkins. And then you had pass interference when you got off the field on the defense. Greg Newsome grabbed and held Jefferson. And so those things add up and end up costing you.
When you look at it, switching to the defense, 2 huge forced fumbles, which was nice. You had one from Alex Wright, and then the second one, Isaiah McGuire. And I think when you see everything that the defense is doing, considering outside of that last series, I mean, they've been pretty solid. And they started the game pretty solid. Went solid for about, 3 quarters, would you say?
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Right? I mean, right at the end of the game is when you needed it the most. But, yes, to your point, we had talked how many times on this show and other shows, if we talked about they don't create turnovers. Everyone knows that's been a problem for them. They won that battle today, still found a way to lose.
3 straight weeks, too.
But, yeah, all right, they're creating them. Do something else.
Like, that's not good enough.
Well, on a micro level, yes, that was great to see. But unfortunately, you zoom out, they found a way to screw it up today. It's hard to lose a game when you win the turnover battle. They did that today.
Well, the first turnover was on a short field. The offense converted into a touchdown. But that was a game-changing second one, and the offense went 3 and out, didn't do anything.
It did achieve one thing, though. That flipped the field. Like, they were on about their 1 or 2, and they punted it down, and then they created – they had to go 3 and out, but they punted it again, and that at least got them out of jail, so to speak, gave the defense some breathing room.
You just felt a few times there the offense had a chance to put the game away.
Yeah.
Instead, they had a 3-point lead, could have went up by 6 or 10, and you didn't. And, and also, I think a big factor in this, I've been harping on all offseason, the wide receiver play. The difference in this game was the Vikings have game-changing wide receivers that make plays when the game's on the line, and the Browns do not. Jerry Jeudy, what'd he do again today on a 17-yard big play? He dropped it. And, Thrash had 1 catch, and he's one of your top 3 now, and it was on the last play of the game, just basically running out the clock. Isaiah Bond, so they're just not anywhere near an NFL wide receiving core, to play at this level. And so, good for Quinshon Judkins. He's almost your whole offense. Get him the ball in the passing game and in the running game. He counted for 128 yards today.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what you guys think. Am I the only one that I can't be thinking this? When Quinshon Judkins comes off the field and they put in literally anyone else at running back, I'm just like, why? He had 23 carries today, 110 along a 32, had the 56-yarder come off the board over the holding. If you give the ball to any, I guess I understand he needs a breather, right? He is, but like if they run anybody else, I'm like, why? Nobody else has any juice at that position. Sampson, maybe in a short passing game, whatever. He only had one carry today, but like anytime they give it to Ford, I'm like, what are we doing here? Right. Why? The other guy is just so much better. Mm-hmm. I don't want to make. It's not like they split it. I don't want to go too crazy about it, but I just know personally when the Judkins comes out the field, I'm like, here we go. Then there's no one on the field that is any kind of danger to anybody.
It was to the point some of the media were questioning, at least, is he dinged? Because they said, no, he's got his helmet on, so he must be okay. Why he wasn't in there at all.
Right.
After the game, they asked Stefanski about it. He said, no, I'm just wary of or cognizant of overload. And you remember that when Nick Chubb was here, we'd be like, why is he only getting 15 carries? The guy should be carrying about 30 times a game.
Yeah.
I understand you want to take care of him, but when you got a one-horse crew going, let him keep banging on. He would have been better late in the game, wearing down that Viking defense.
He is so fun to watch. As soon as the ball goes to 10, I'm like, here we go. There's probably going to be a run. How many? I'd love to know. I don't have the stats, but his yards after contact. This is something I feel like we're going to talk about every single week with this guy. Like, it looks like the hole closes 2 yards right at the line or a yard or two down, and then somehow this guy, more times than not, emerges from the pack and either pushes it or just straight out comes out of it and picks up another 5-6 yards. He's awesome to watch.
Well,
he's so much fun.
At least 70 yards called back on penalties.
Yes.
He had a 56-yard touchdown.
Which is crazy because you look at those numbers and you're like, these numbers should be even higher.
I know. And and that's what's, that contributes to losing this game and that goes back to the penalties.
All right, we're going to take a really quick break, and then when we come out of the break, we are going to get into our infamous true or false question. We'll be right back.
Off the Leash continues. Guys, we do it every week. I throw a question out there, true, false. There's no maybes? No, I'm not sure. You can't live in the gray area. It's a thumbs up, thumbs down proposition. I actually don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this, so I'm going to run it past you guys. We're just talking about him. I'll keep talking about him because he's fun. Quinshon Judkins, true, false question, was the best draft pick the Browns made so far this year.
I'm going to feel confident in saying absolutely, yes.
More than Schlesinger, more than Graham. I'm not challenging saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
These are the things I was juggling with. I think you can make a good case for a couple of them. But
I say yes because Schlesinger is very good, and they did lose a lot at that position. But the defense was also still pretty solid prior to Schlesinger coming into the picture. The offense was pretty not.
Yeah.
They were nowhere near it. So they needed help, and it's going to run out of this guy, as we can see. So 1,000%.
I say true, and it's with an asterisk because it's a flashy position. I mean, running back, but they really needed you let Nick Chubb go, a borderline Hall of Fame guy, at least for the Browns, that you let go in favor of Judkins. And the way it started to begin when he got, off-field problems and missed those games. But Schlesinger, though, has taken a big load, with JOK out. And Graham has played well, but he's not in a flashy position. So this rookie class, Harold Fannin, this has kind of like been the redemption for Andrew Berry. I mean, And what if Dylan Gabriel ends up being the franchise quarterback and you got him in the third round? I'm not going there yet, and you got Shedeur Sanders who's out there too. So, I mean, this is what you need to do year in, year out. You don't always do it. But, yeah, I would say right now Quinshon Judkins for sure. The offense was of no effect until he came along. And at least they have a pulse now. They have an identity. You just got to get some passing game going.
Yeah, I actually wanted to say false on this because, Fred, to your point, it is the flashy position. The defensive tackles never – and by the way, he forced a big holding penalty today. Mason Graham does a few things. Schlesinger, because of the big need at the position, I really wanted to say, no, I think it might be Schlesinger, but the defense would still be good if Schlesinger went out on the field. The offense isn't good, but the only time they are good is when Judkins is going. The defense would still be good without Schlesinger on the field. They'd be challenged. They have some things, Graham certainly. But it is pretty cut and dry. If 10's on the field, they got a chance to move the ball. And if he's not, I don't think they do. And so for right now, I'm going to say true on that one. And I did not think I would be saying that this early because of the nature of the position. It's replaceable, right? It was a deep running back draft. You don't know what they could have got later on or whatever. But, wow, he is clear-cut the best guy on that offense. Not to keep beating a dead horse, but, he's been fun.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, I've only been here going on 3 years. And you guys have had multiple players that you've seen who people have been excited about and whatnot. But, like, I think since I've been here, this has probably been the biggest guy that I've seen. Like, people like, man, give him the ball, give him the ball. Like, they love watching him. Like, you feel like you're excited. Like, you feel hope whenever he has the ball in his hands. You know what I mean?
This is the way it was.
You're never lost when Quinshawn is there.
That's because you got here basically when Nick Chubb was injured and out of gas. But, to your point, this is how that was. When Nick is get him the ball. You could hand the ball to Nick Chubb 25 times. People are like, that's not enough. Not enough. More. It's exactly what this was. Now stretch it out over years where people absolutely love Nick Chubb. It's the same type of thing, Quinshawn Judkins. And being a Buckeye never hurts, does it, Fred?
Well,
no, it doesn't.
And
you remember Hugh Jackson? They had the Buckeye running back Carlos Hyde, and they put in Chubb as a rookie. First play went 43 yards for a touchdown.
Yes, against Raiders.
They give him the ball again. He gets 3 or 4. They give him the ball again. He goes 60-some yards for a touchdown. 3 carries, 105 yards. And Jackson didn't give him the ball again. John Dorsey traded Carlos Hyde that week because Jackson wasn't playing Nick Chubb, and the rest is history. But it's like, wow, you got a guy, you ride him.
So let me ask you guys this, though, because we were just talking a little bit about that. I think, Fred, you're the one that brought this up. If he's playing so well, Quinshawn is who we're speaking about. If he's playing so well and you don't really want him to get out of gas, I mean, at some point the man does need a break, right? We know the offense runs through him, but he cannot do every single thing. But the game is on the line and it's important. What do they do then? In that, do you agree with Stefanski taking him out, giving him, a whole series, putting Ford in, allowing him to go? Like Mark says, what the heck is Ford doing in the game? Or are you at the, what is the right?
Well, you do have to spell him. And at the end of the game, he was in there. He had no yards on the first carry and -1 the next one. They all knew he was getting the ball. But I do think you have to spell him. Now, Ford had a couple, did okay. I think the biggest problem with Dylan Sampson right now is they know that they're going to probably run the ball when he's in there because his pass blocking has not been very good when they tried to throw it to him. They're just dropping back and they're knowing that they're running it. And so I do think you have to have that 1-2 punch. And right now it's Ford because they trust him blocking and passing game and catching the ball out of the backfield. They had a couple plays today, but more than a spell, you need Judkins out there and just keep riding him.
I was talking to Mark about this earlier. I feel like it now makes more and more sense why Jerome Ford took the pay cut in order to secure himself a spot on this team because
some money is better than no money.
They were probably going to be like, yeah, dude, you're out here. All right, so let's look ahead to what the Browns will have in front of them. They will be taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 3-1, first in the AFC North right now. They're going to be coming off a bye week. I want to say they're on their bye week. And they're going to be fresh. So what do the Browns need to do to prepare for a tough Pittsburgh Steelers team?
I think Roger Goodell and the NFL hates the Browns still since that Deshaun Watson move. I'm just kidding. But, my goodness, you got 6 games in a gauntlet, and you're finishing in Pittsburgh. I don't care what Pittsburgh has on their roster this year. I've been over there since 2003. They've lost every regular season game. When they play Renegade, and it just seems like the wheels fall off the wagon for the Browns. And, Duck Hodges beat them. I'm like, how in the world do you lose to these guys? But, yeah, they're coming off a bye, and they're going to be coming out of the tunnel ready to go, and the Browns are limping along 1-4. I actually thought they would get a win and you'd have a chance going over there. We were hoping they would get out to at least a 2-4 start to keep the season somewhat alive. Now I feel like it's right there. Your back's to the wall.
Can you imagine if they'd won this today like they were supposed to, and they're 2-3 going into Pittsburgh, and we're going, oh my gosh, they could actually find a way to get back to 500. Of course they didn't. What do I expect out of next week in Pittsburgh? Pain. That is what I expect. Pain. To Fred's point, they don't win.
What did Jameis Winston said?
Pain.
There's pain everywhere.
There's pain everywhere, and it usually comes in Pittsburgh when this team's there. I know they won the playoff game there, but they don't win in the regular season there. I was there for Duck Hodges. What was the other game? Ben was hurt, and he was available only in an emergency, and the starter was somebody who was terrible.
I
And
don't know if it was Mason Rudolph, but
It wasn't-
first series, and then
and
Ben came
right,
in.
and then they injured the starter, who was the backup, and you wanted him in the game. The Browns injured him, and here comes Ben, and he beat the stuffing out of the Browns that day. I'm like, could you have not? Like, could you have put that bad quarterback in bubble wrap and not injured him? Nah. I mean, the Browns, they get blown out. They lose there tragically. Aaron Rodgers, I didn't realize his numbers are even this good. 8 touchdowns to 3 picks. He's been better than they thought. I'm sorry, I can't spin yarn on how they win this game. I know we always talk about sometimes they steal one. Yeah, I got it. It's never there. No, it's never in Pittsburgh.
Probably not this one. But when you look ahead, you do have the Steelers, and then you have the Dolphins, on a struggle bus as well. Then the Patriots and Jets, and then Ravens again now at home with that game. You kind of look at it like, okay, if they turned around and could win, okay, if they don't win against the Steelers, if you could get a Dolphins and Patriots win somewhere in there, if not both of them. Fred, you're blinking real slow at me. No.
Well, it's because
Fred's like, it's not happening.
we're trying to keep them afloat
Yeah.
through these first 6 games, and right now the nose is right above the water.
Yeah.
Last year they were 1-6. It's over. Historically, you cannot come back in the NFL when you're that far down, and that's kind of where they're at. And like I said, the defense is keeping them in games, playing well, but the offense can't score more than 17 points, and that. So now, yes, you're right mathematically, but you know how it is. Even when you have winnable games coming up, you got to string a few wins in a row, like a winning streak.
Yeah,
and
that have to be one
that's
heck
what
of a winning
they
streak.
are very hard to do. It's like today was a winnable game. They had 6 starters out, 3 starting offensive linemen, and their starting quarterback. And Carson Wentz, who I thought they knocked out of the game, came back and played flawless pretty much in the second half. And you know, that's just the Browns' lot lately. They got to take it to the other team instead of letting it come to them. And that's what happened today. The Vikings made the drive when they needed to.
Is this fair to say that this is the plan that they sold Myles Garrett on?
The plan they sold Myles Garrett on was $40 million a year.
I think about that all the time. Like, is this the plan?
I was
they
actually
sold him on?
I was
'Cause
about
I'm
to talk about
confused.
Myles because you asked what's ahead, and you said they're 1-4 and they probably lose in Pittsburgh, and it's 1-5, and you said at 1-6 they don't come back, and nobody ever does. And I was thinking that's about the point of the year where every Friday you guys are in the locker room. And Myles is talking about basically how he's going to think they can still make the playoffs until they're eliminated. And this will go on with their 1-6 and 1-7 and 1-8 and 1-9. And he will continue to say that every week. And I understand it. I get it. I am not ripping him for that. But he says it, and all of us are like, nobody believes that, Myles. Stop it. But we're almost at that point of the year. And I have no reason to believe, I don't think anyone does have any reason to believe that we will not find ourselves there very shortly.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the draft before Halloween.
You know, what you have said a couple of times, the good thing is, you got the Tennessee Titans on your schedule. Hey, that might be a win.
I mean, is there a difference
0-4?
between 2
Yeah,
and 15
the
and
point is
4 and 13?
Do they get past 3 wins at this point? Because you don't want to get to where they were last season. I feel like if they get to 4 wins, they'll be like, fine.
Or do they?
I'm happy.
Because last year, I could make a case, they'd never say it, but those last 4 or 5 games, I don't think they wanted to win. They could have won some more games with Jameis Winston. But when you turned it back over to DTR and Bailey Zappi, it was like back to offense under Deshaun Watson. Because, like the point, 3-14 or 4-13 might be 8 spots in the draft. I don't know if there's even a quarterback, sitting there that's worth getting at the top of the draft. They said they thought there was going to, but right now I don't know. And so it's very cloudy.
And, the thing is, and I don't want to go too far down this road because we're going to be talking about this kind of thing all year later on the year. But, you could – this year they were picking second. It was a one-quarterback draft, right? They could be picking third. What if it's a two-quarterback draft? You know what I mean? That's still a ways away. But it's October 5th. I don't want to quite go there yet.
Well, listen, when it comes to the Browns, we can go anywhere, okay? All these
Nowhere.
episodes,
No, you cannot go up.
all these episodes.
No, you cannot go up.
Well, actually, no. You could go up technically. Will you be able to go up?
No.
Probably
There's nowhere
not.
to go but down here, actually.
Well, listen. The good thing is Quinshawn Judkins.
He's fun. They got a guy.
That is their up at this point.
They could have. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this draft class all year because there's not much exciting right now. But Mason Graham so far is fine. I don't know what he is, but I don't know. I'm not going to say he's bad, but he looks like he's can flash. Schlesinger looks good. Judkins looks good. Fanta looks good. Gabriel, we'll see. By the time you get into the fourth round, fifth round, it doesn't matter, and they might get something out of Sampson or even Sanders. But this is shaping up to be a good draft class for them, and that's how you got to turn this thing around, right? You got to do that about 2, 3, 4 times over.
We didn't get to talk about this last week because they hadn't announced the change to Gabriel. But my take on that was a little different. Not so much if Flacco was playing so bad. I felt like they felt there was an opportunity in the division. You can win the division. You get in the playoffs. The Bengals, I don't think anybody's expecting them to go anywhere with Joe Burrow out. And the Ravens now, I don't know what they're going to do today or going forward, but when Lamar Jackson is not playing, that's a different team. I mean, those 2 years in a row he went down, they were done. And a hamstring, the way they don't say much about injuries, who knows how long he could be out. The Steelers really are the most formidable right now, and I don't know how strong they are in the big picture. So I think that was one of the moves. They felt like if they could steal this win in London, they're 2-3 and right back in the division going to Pittsburgh. So, yeah, this changes a lot, but you're still 1-4 any way you look at it.
I was talking to Mark about this on a tweet I saw that, of course, the questions were going to come with, Shador playing or anybody else. Well, and I say anybody else, I'm referring to Deshaun Watson. I'm just not saying the name for Mark today because he gets.
No, listen, it's Cleveland. Anything's possible. There's some dude on a practice squad anywhere in this country that could be starting here by the end of the game, by the end of the season.
But the person was saying, basically, like, where would this team be if you wouldn't have just sacrificed playing Joe Flacco the first couple weeks and you went ahead and just right out of the gate went with Dylan Gabriel? Do you think there would have been any stark difference in this team?
It's hard to say. I mean, that was Flacco's job, is to not lose games with interceptions. That Bengals game, obviously the kicker gets a lot of blame, but those 2 interceptions were really off receivers' hands, that were blamed to Flacco. I don't know. I don't know if he would have made any difference in a win or a loss, but going forward, you might as well find out what you have now at 1-4. And if things continually spiraling, there's plenty of time to see what you have with Sanders. But you talk about Deshaun Watson. I saw a national writer, whether it was Schefter or Rappaport, one of them said they don't expect Watson to play this year. That was sent to them or leaked to them by somebody with the Browns. They don't want it getting out there that he's getting ready to come back and play.
But I also feel like he puts the pressure on them to make a decision on him playing because all the videos he's
because
putting
I don't
out
know
at the
why
same
else
time.
you put that out there today, other than somebody wanted to let him know. That's just my presumption.
No, I think that's absolutely right on. Like, that's not coming from Deshaun's camp. Like, insiders, they get it from one of two places. They get it from the teams or they get it from the player/agent. There's two camps, right? Team, player. He's getting it from one of them. That's not coming from Watson. Somebody in the club leaked that for the very reason you said. They don't. Let's put out the fire before it starts.
Get rid of him next year.
Yeah. What is it? Post June 1st, the cap hit goes down to like $71 million or something.
I'm not a cap guy, but our cap guy, it's more like $119 million. So you have to keep him until the
June 1st, right? It's the post June 1st.
No, it's like March of 27.
Oh, I thought you could get
because they redid his deal again.
Oh, you're right. They've redone it like 5 times.
And so he might just be inactive, but he's going to be on the roster because if you cut him and it's $119 million against your cap, that's about half your cap on one player.
Who's not even there.
So that means, you just got to play him. All right, guys. Well,
I would rather play Shador, and I'm not a Shador guy.
I know that will just eat you up. But all right, Browns lose this one against the Vikings over the pond, 21-17. It was in their hands, in their grasp. They could not get it done. Pittsburgh Steelers on tap next for the Cleveland Browns. Make sure you subscribe, like the podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Please leave us a 5-star review. That would be excellent. And please make sure you tune into next week. We will be here breaking it down against the Steelers as we do every Sunday. For myself, Mark Schwab, and Fred Greetham, this is another episode of Off the Leash. We'll see you later.